This is going to make you smile when you hear this. We know the debt's a problem. We know the deficit's a problem. We know the interest expense going up is a massive problem. But Michael Gentili brought up this brilliant point. He said, we're not even in a recession yet. This level of craziness with the fiscal policy, which is what I just talked about. I want you to think about this for a second. We are screwed up in this country financially, screwed up on a government level. Oh gosh, we forgot to mention a corporate level, an individual level, credit card debt, mortgage debt, student loan debt, car debt, you name it, corporate debt through the roof, government debt. We're in big trouble. This level, especially with the government of debt, that's usually like what happens after, like it happened after World War II, right? Which was a massive. Now we're in this situation and things are supposedly good. What happens when we hit a recession? What happens if we hit a depression? I mean, think about it. Under the best of Bidenomic tricks, economic growth and everything's so great, we're in big trouble. What happens if our economy actually officially gets in big trouble? And are there any signs of that? Well, there's signs everywhere. Housing news this morning collapsing. Talk to the people that run Dick's Sporting Goods. They're having problems. Macy's is having problems. All the big high-end retail. The only people that are doing good right now are the dollar store and Walmart. What does that tell you? That tells you people don't have money. So the big kicker here, as we think about our silver and our gold, within this context of how screwed up everything is, but the economy isn't really supposedly screwed up. What happens when the economy gets really screwed up? It's going to be crazy for the silver price and the gold price. So that was just like a very, for me, insightful way to look at things. Like I hadn't thought about that. I just hadn't crossed my mind. Just when I thought everything had crossed, I got a few crossed connections up there, no doubt about it, but that hadn't crossed my mind that we're in, I'm not going to use a bad word. We are in not good shape, right? Fiscally, but at the same time, we haven't even hit a rough patch. What happens when we hit the rough patch? And I'm telling you, I think we're hitting it right now. I could be wrong. Don't make any financial decisions based upon anything I say to you. But nonetheless, it's starting to feel that way. Let's talk about silver. That was the thumbnail for this Philly. Silver shortage. I ran into something that I hadn't thought of, but we know the story for silver, right? We love silver. Most of you probably own some. Do you own some physical silver? This was eye-opening for me regarding silver. Look, you know the whole story on silver. Don't tell anybody, right? Because you still want to be able to buy some physical silver, but you know the supply, right? The supply story, and you really know. I know you. You really know the demand story too, you little snake in the grass. You know that solar panels use a lot of silver. You know the electrification story. You know people like it for jewelry and silverware. You know that the defense industry sucks in a huge amount of silver that we're not even really able to accurately calculate. You know all that, right? But this was new to me. And I've been in love with silver for decades. Is this new to you? Now I got to find it. Darn it. Oh, here we go. I found it. This came from a company called Discovery Silver, okay? Who I've heard of, but I don't know much about. So this is not sponsored or anything like that. But this is interesting regarding silver. They talk about the top 10 largest undeveloped silver deposits in the world. That means these have been drilled and identified, so they are confident the silver is there, but they maybe haven't been permitted or built or anything like that. So it's interesting. The top 10 largest, and there's something in this data that's going to knock your socks off. So if you don't want your socks knocked off, hold on to them in about 30 seconds, because I can't just get right to the point. It says ranked the largest undeveloped silver deposits in the world. Global silver demand is poised to soar. Oh, in the next decade, driven by emerging technologies like electric vehicles and solar power. Silver demand from solar alone has grown from, this is not the good part, less than 50 million ounces a decade ago to over 160 million ounces in 2023. Remember, the mines only produce about 850 million ounces per year. And solar's sucking in 160. That's still not the kicker. Okay? So, where will the necessary supply come from to meet this surge? A graphic from Discovery Silver shows the largest undeveloped silver deposits in the world. Then, you don't want me to read this because it's all about how it's part of solar cells and da-da-da. We're going to talk about that a little bit in a second, too. Global silver demand is rising with increasing demand for new technologies combined with physical investment demand. That's you. I know you're buying up all the silver. One of you sent me some pictures this morning of some new Aztec silver bars. You know who I'm talking to, right? You're buying it up. 2023 silver industrial demand is forecasted to rise by 4%, but that's still not the kicker. However, according to the Silver Institute, mined output is expected to decline over the next 5 years. That's still not the kicker. In this scenario, new mines are expected to play an important role in meeting demand. Currently, the world's top 10 undeveloped silver deposits contain 984 million ounces of silver. Let me repeat that. The world's top 10 undeveloped silver deposits contain 984 million ounces of silver. That's the kicker. Do you know why? Think about this. The 10 biggest undeveloped, Mexico, Peru, Russia, Australia, Peru, China, Chile, Bosnia, Herzegovina, Mexico, and Russia. That's where they are. Combined, less than 1 billion ounces of silver. Let me put this in perspective for you. First Mining Gold is a development company advancing two of the largest gold projects in Canada. Springpole in Ontario and Duparquet, located in Quebec, each already has 5 million ounces of gold reserves, but exploration initiatives are underway at both projects to find even more gold. First Mining is well-financed, has zero debt, and owns an interest in 4 additional Canadian gold development projects. Those are the top 10 biggest undeveloped resources in the world. That's less silver than the world demands in 1 year, right? Last year we had this big silver, 1.2 billion ounces were demanded. What is that? Put it together. Look at the big picture. The top 10 biggest undeveloped silver projects in the world combined have less than what the world demands in 1 year. Now we're pulling together what I think could be called anecdotal evidence, but maybe not. That's probably not the right word. But what I'm saying is that alone to me is fascinating. Okay? That's a big deal. I would have thought it would have been like 25 billion ounces or something like that. It bears repeating because the other thing that bugs Susie about me, besides the red shirt and the way I say the word war, is that I'm a repeater. I'm Ron the Repeater, but it bears repeating, guys. The top 10 silver deposits in the world, undeveloped, have less than what the world demands in 1 year. I want to say thank you to our sponsor of this video, Pimbex, the online bullion dealer, right there if you need to learn how to spell it, pimbex.com. Okay, to me, and I've worked with them before they sponsored, they have the best quality, prices, and reputation. I want you to stay here in the basement. You're welcome here. You're a basement dweller. You love to talk about me. Ask you a couple questions. Do you love to talk about silver and gold? Do you like to make new friends? Do you like to expand your brain? Well, if you do, you belong here, and you're welcome here. So thank you for being here. I will put out a new piece of content every single day for the rest of my life. So you got a friend for life, okay? Hey, well, I'll save the thumbs up begging for later. I really will, all right? This is fascinating. This goes back to what we were talking about with Michael Gentile and Peter Grandage when Gentile said, yeah, the USA is, I want to use the word screwed, but I guess I just did, screwed. And we're supposedly in the middle of really good economic times, right? What happens when things go bad? We already covered that. But here's what came into my mind. Everybody's so excited about a new gold-backed currency, a new reserve currency amongst the BRICS nations. My question for you is this, could that actually, I'm going to be the devil's advocate, be bad for gold? Now, if it was gold-backed, obviously that's good for gold. But if there's not a shared currency and that only leaves the dollar as the option, right? So if people start to compare, okay, if the dollar's the one option, or I have gold and silver and precious metals, that could actually, does that make sense to you? That like, instead of having the dollar, and we'll call it the BRICS currency, or silver and gold, if there's no BRICS currency and all people have is their options are to leave their money in euros or yen, or I almost said Deutschmarks, but they don't exist anymore, British pounds or gold or silver, what does that make sense? That maybe there's a silver lining to us not getting a BRICS common currency. However, if it is backed by silver and gold, obviously that's good for the price of the precious metals. Just something to think about. You like to think about things.